What's up, boys? Today we're going to be checking out the Colossus update for Disfigure, a completely free bullet heaven with some pretty unique and interesting mechanics. So each weapon has its own perk tree. You can see a bunch of different stuff over here. I'm feeling some on-hit and proc type stuff today, so we're going to buy the burst rifle and try that out since it fires a burst of 3 bullets at once. And then I think there were some things over here that would cause it to hit more often as well, and then some extra damage on hit over there. So we're going to try that out, and hopefully that'll be pretty good. And then there's a new mechanic here where we can kill bosses to unlock permanent upgrades. And there was a rework to the map one. I am not sure what the difference between these are. Let's try out hard here, see how that goes. So there's a bunch of new stuff for me to unlock as we kill some of the bosses here. And there's actually like a light radius mechanic in the game. Let me see, I think I like auto fire, so we'll go there. Zoom, what does that do? Nothing apparently. So you can only see enemies who are inside of your light radius, and there will be some unique upgrades you can actually get that will modify that, making it larger or dealing enemies inside of it, or making it smaller but giving you some upgrades for that. And then there's a bunch of different skill trees in the game, so this will slow down enemy projectiles and increase my movement speeds. We can deflect enemy projectiles and then get some bonuses for that. I don't think enemies will actually have projectiles for a while, so let's check out some of the other trees. Fire rate would be fantastic for what we're going for here. Temporarily increases fire rate, sounds pretty nice. An additional projectile, ooh. And I think we can go for both sides of those trees. Damaging enemies inflict shock, increasing damage taken. That would also be pretty cool. Let's see, so here we have some of the vision modifiers, the cone vision. I think we're going to stick with the circle thing, so probably we could delete this one then. And then it'll be easier to find useful stuff for the build. Killing an enemy will spawn a laser that rotates toward where you're aiming, deals bullet damage every 0.25 seconds. I think we're going for more of a fast attacking on hit thing than for like heavy bullet damage, so that probably won't be super relevant. Plasma charge. Every 5 kills, fire a plasma charge on your next shot that deals base damage to enemies inside of your light radius. I think we're going to go for some fire rate over here. Try that out. You can still hit enemies that you can't see, so the auto fire does help with that. Every 12 seconds, spawn a singularity, deals damage every half second, freezes enemies. Despawns after 5 seconds, bit of passive movement speed. Damage is increased for every enemy in it, and it casts faster. They take more damage from other damage, 100%, wow, that's quite a bit. Bullets shot into the singularity will be absorbed to increase its size. So kind of a black hole proc type thing. And then that one will absorb projectiles and float XP towards you. That sounds pretty useful to collect it for us. Every 6th shot, damage all enemies revealed in vision based on your bullet damage. Every 5th enemy killed will explode into wildfire, inflicting damage equal to the amount received. That sounds kind of interesting. Circle vision, so that would actually help us since we're going to stick with that one. Some passive movement speed. Every 5 seconds, emit a thin wave of light revealing everything. Extra size, but you lose health. And you only have 3 health, so losing one of those is actually kind of big. Circle vision slows enemies, that's pretty nice. I think we're going to go for the wildfire thing so we can get some of our proc damage going. So now they actually are firing some projectiles, but it looks like we can see those even when they're outside of our vision radius. And they move fairly slowly currently. So we can get the multi-shot tree over here. And I'm actually pretty curious to see how that interacts with the burst fire. Does it like double the total number or just tack one on to the end? So I think we're going to grab that. 25% chance to inflict bleed, that would also be pretty nice. Killing an enemy, spawn a laser. Enemies outside of any vision move slower and take more damage, but it lowers your vision. So you kind of see less enemies, but you get a bonus for doing that. Every 5 shots, fire a flashbang, which explodes. Temporary vision, and then enemies revealed by it take more damage. I think we're going to take the multi-shot now and see how that works with the burst fire. Oh, it does double all of them. Okay, that's sick. It's going to be insane for doing lots of proc effects. Flashbangs, light meteor. Every 6th enemy killed, revealed in vision spawns a meteor. Maybe later on. A circle-shaped proximity marker causing nearby enemies to be slowed and take more damage. Increases damage of your next shot by up to 50% and an additional 25% when fully charged. I don't know what the charging is. How do I charge it? Oh, probably over 1.5 seconds of not firing at all? So that actually sounds bad for me then, I think. Fully charged is increased. Every other enemy killed by a fully charged up strike. First enemy hit by fully charged up. Nearby enemy will be condemned for 2.5 seconds, taking more damage. Fully charged. Kill enemies with fully charged wind-up strike. So I don't think this is going to work very well for the build. We don't want to be not firing for a long time, so we'll delete that. Enemies outside of vision take more damage, move slower. Bullet speed and fire rate, that's pretty nice. That's the other tree, so yeah, we can get both of those. Meteor, which deals bullet damage, leaves temporary vision. What else does this have? Meteor on every 4th enemy killed. Impact, meteors leave craters. Touching one will launch a cosmic meteor, which floats XP from enemies killed by it towards you. 4 cosmic craters to control the landing of a large asteroid. It does lower fire rate by quite a bit, so I might actually delete that. Enemies hit by a meteor will be slowed. Size and duration of vision circles. Killing an enemy with a meteor will launch a line of 6 napalm meteors towards a random enemy. So it's based on your bullet damage and it lowers your fire rate. And it's based on kills more so than proc damage. So we might want to delete that later when we get an opportunity for that then. And then I think we're just going to take this for the big fire rate and bullet speed. Every 5 kills, fire a plasma charge. I want stuff that's based on like hitting more so than killing if possible. Movement speed and XP pickup. Movement speed while not shooting won't do much for me. Bullet damage is increased by 50% of movement speed. That's pretty cool, although we're not really going for the bullet damage quite as much. But we might grab some of it later on, and it does sound like an interesting tree at least. Picking up XP increases bullet damage size and speed of your next shot. Okay, that won't do much when we're constantly firing. XP revealed in vision will float towards the player from any range, but you move a lot slower. Could be useful still. Circle vision size and movement speeds. What else do we get over there? More size. Every 5 seconds. Oh, we've already seen most of that. 5 shots fire a flashbang, which explodes into temporary vision. And then a big damage multiplier. That would be pretty useful. We're firing a lot of shots, so that should trigger pretty often. That one will lower my movement speed, but you can trigger them more often. Enemies are slowed when they're revealed. That looks pretty good as well. 5 kills explodes into temporary vision rays. Yeah, I think I'm down to get that to help out my vision a bit. So there's our little flashbang up there. As we get more fire rate and reload speed, that should trigger more often as well. Electricity, damaging enemies inflict shock. I would like to grab that, I think. The laser, wildfire burst. So we could upgrade that a little bit. Plasma charge. Emit a trail of particles that inflict psychosis on enemies, making them take more damage and move slower. It does lower my fire rates. Enemies move slower and take even more damage. On death, psychotic enemies will float XP towards you. While not shooting, move faster. Nope. On death, enemies will create a temporary remnant dealing bullet damage. 4 of those can be active at a time. Touching a remnant will explode it. Touch 4 of them before shooting to fire a colossal blast dealing damage and lower your fire rate. That would be pretty bad. Let's go ahead and grab the shock effect since that triggers whenever we deal damage to them. Oh, we can actually trigger that, and then we can see them outside of the vision as well with the little effect playing on them. Wildfire, radiation, every 6 shot damage all enemies revealed in vision. So this has pretty good synergy with the flashbang we got, since we'll be lighting enemies up outside of our vision a bit. Damaging enemies has a chance to inflict fire. Okay, I really want that so we get some proc damage and it makes them move slower as well. Clone sentry, 8 seconds, spawn a sentry, aims and shoots at whatever you're aiming 10 times before despawning. Some decent passive stats, that also looks pretty good. I think we're gonna go ahead and grab the burning effect here. Every 6 kills, create a current following where you're aiming, dealing bullet damage every 0.2 seconds. Maximum of 3. Once per enemy, damaging with the current will freeze them for a second. Upgrades that increase bullet speed will apply to that. Max of 4 currents. Each kill with them will float XP towards you. Damage every 0.1 seconds and freeze enemies while damaging them. Sounds pretty good. Dealing damage with the current will cause an explosion, dealing bullet damage. Enemies killed by an explosion will fire a smaller bullet towards your current location. It does lower your fire rate a bit, and then that lowers it more. The explosion will always create a shot when it activates, regardless of whether it kills an enemy. Proximity marker. Killing spree. Killing enemies increases fire rates after 3 seconds without killing. It does lower our bullet damage, but that sounds kind of cool. Massive bullet speed and fire rate looks great up there. Wait, that's stuff I already have, right? Yeah, that's the second upgrade over there. Cost of accuracy and damage. Ooh, that looks pretty cool. 50% fire rates. Bullet damage and size. 20% for 2 seconds after being revealed. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab Killing Spree then. Oh, that's a big boy. So we'll focus on the small guys so I have room to constantly move around here, and then those guys seem pretty tanky. 2 shots on an enemy to permanently illuminate them, but I think we want the big fire rate over here. And that, with the flashbang perk we got earlier, will give me more vision anyways. Enemies revealed in vision take 25% more damage, plasma charge, proximity, swiftness. Every 5th shot, shoot a flame that deals damage, inflicts fire, and slows enemies down by 20%. Okay, that sounds really good for the super fast proc build here. Fire projectiles faster at the cost of accuracy and damage. It doesn't tell you how much accuracy though, but I do want that. Let's see, enemy projectiles move slower, Callisto current, guided laser. I think we've seen all of these, so we'll go ahead and lock that in and see how it feels. Pretty good apparently. It's harder to hit with all of the bullets now, but all of the on-hit effects are coming out a lot faster as well. And if we get close to them, we can still land a lot of stuff. As long as I still have time to dodge stuff. Okay, they're getting really tanky now. I might have gone too hard on the difficulty. Sentry, Psych Trail. Shield Barrier making you immune from damage, recharges every 3 minutes. Fire rate is increased by 25% 3 seconds after killing an enemy with Blaze. That looks pretty cool. Clone Sentry, Radiation. That might actually be pretty good now that our fire rate's getting pretty high. Bullet damage and size, what does that unlock? Size, speed, damage. We would lose fire rate there, which would probably not be great, and again there. Projectiles will pierce through 1 enemy. That could be pretty helpful though. Pierce through 3 enemies, dealing more damage for each. I would take that for minus 5% fire rates. Pierce through infinite enemies, dealing more damage for each. That sounds kind of interesting. We lose 10% total, but I might save that for later. Every shot to be a charged round, dealing double damage. Charged round creates an explosion. Fire a shot that does triple damage. Charged round will spawn a temporary vision circle. killing an enemy with that increases fire rate by 40%. That could help a bit. Minus 30% fire rate, but fire an extra bullet that has 100% chance to be a charged round. I'm not sure on that. The big fire rate sounds pretty painful. So I think we go radiation here. Add in some extra on-hit stuff based on our vision. With all of the flashbangs triggering all over the place now. Oh god! This game seems a lot harder than I remember. We have to fight our way out and then focus on avoiding those at the same time. I don't remember what difficulty I was playing on the previous playthroughs. Movement speed, XP, pickup. Flashbangs will freeze nearby enemies for a second. Okay, that would probably help a lot. 3 enemies will charge your next shot, fire a lightning bolt, dealing lightning equal to 150% bullet damage. 12 seconds, spawn a singularity. Yeah, let's grab the crowd control on that. Try and keep these guys off me a bit now that we're getting completely surrounded. Got some fast projectiles coming in now. On death, enemies will explode into 2 smaller projectiles of whatever killed them, dealing 25% damage, lose a bit of fire rate, but I think there's some interesting stuff somewhere in here. More on the shrapnel, lose more fire rate there, that might not be great. Projectiles which kill enemies create an additional one, up to 50% damage, but lose even more fire rate, not sure on that. Killing an enemy, your next shot will do more damage. Doom rounds, kills an enemy, fire rate is doubled for 1 second. That could be kind of cool. Doom round is that one. That might be kind of hard to trigger with the build we're going for though. So honestly, I'm not sure. We might want the first one though. Radiation takes 1 less shot to activate. Lightning bolt, what can we get after that? Enemies killed by lightning bolt will explode, dealing damage to nearby enemies. 2 additional lightning bolts. Man, there's so many penalties to fire rate though. Seems kind of painful. Light meteor. Oh, that actually is kind of useful. Enemies taking more damage and vision, if you can upgrade that a bit. Just so many penalties to fire rate, man. Let's toss a reroll here. Fatigue, gleam, circle vision, and movement speed. Setting enemies on fire with a bullet has a chance to instantly inflict damage. That sounds pretty cool. Enemies revealed in vision take more damage. That would be very strong. Wait, chance to ricochet towards a nearby enemy, gaining size and bullet speed. Okay, that sounds sick. Let's go there. Heavy radiation. Damage increased by 10% for each enemy in vision. Sounds pretty good for the radiation. Killed by wildfire will erupt in a burst of fire towards a nearby enemy that deals 50% damage. Every 3 seconds your next shot will fire a missile. 3 seconds seems kind of low when we're just constantly spraying bullets everywhere though. Bullet damage temporarily increased for each enemy killed with a missile. Kill 3 enemies with a missile's blast to instantly recharge for another one on the next shot. Okay, that would help a bit then, since it would be based on kills instead of just a static timer. After firing a missile, activate it to explode by shooting again. Enemies killed will send XP to you. Missile damage is increased by 200% of bullet damage. Doesn't really fit the build here, but it is pretty cool. Enemies killed by a missile will erupt into an explosion of half the size, and missiles explode into phosphorus missiles, dealing missile damage and inflicting fire. Clone Sentry, Singularity. I think we'll go for the radiation here. That should be pretty nice with the flashbang stuff, revealing all of them. So I think I would really like to find that one upgrade that allows me to shoot enemy projectiles to bounce them back at them, since there's a lot more of them now, and they're getting pretty fast. And I think a boss just spawns. Lightning bolts, guided missile. Killing an enemy with a single shot has a chance to ricochet. Setting enemies on fire with a bullet has a chance to instantly inflict damage. I think we will grab that. Do I want to delete that? We lose fire rate and stuff over there. Oh yeah, we did want to get the piercing stuff at one point, I think. So take the bottom tree and then delete that later on maybe. But for now, I think we'll take this since we'll be setting enemies on fire pretty much constantly. So I'm just trying to kill all the trash mobs so I can constantly move around and hopefully freezing them, and then we'll focus on avoiding that at the same time. Shock damage dealt to an enemy will damage all other enemies inflicted by shock. That sounds very cool. Every third enemy killed on fire will explode into 3 flames that inflict fire. Also sounds pretty nice. I think we are going chain lightning here to ramp up the AoE damage a bit. Weapon perk, so we got tier 2 here, an extra round in the burst if 5 or more enemies are revealed in vision. That should be up almost constantly with all of the stuff we've got for that now. 3 shots increases damage of next burst by 100%. Damaging an enemy has a 25% chance to damage them twice. It sounds like that'll apply on basically everything. Like all of our procs and stuff as well. So it sounds like that would actually be the best in slot then. So I think we're going over here. Oh god, the projectiles as well. Oh my god, there's so much on screen right now. Triple shot and another additional projectile, lose a bit of fire rate, but that looks fantastic. Light meteor, light targets. Damage of each ricochet is increased by 50% bullet damage. That actually sounds pretty good as well. But I think we're taking the extra shot here for tons of extra procs. Oh god, what is happening? I think we killed him? What is happening? Choose a mutation. Boss heart pickups heal you fully to current max health, but they can no longer increase your current max. 150% more damage, but also take double damage from enemies. Each full heart you currently have, plus bullet damage, but minus movement speed. 10% bullet damage for every minute that passes from now on. 2 hearts, but movement speed is decreased. So I'm thinking either this one or this one. Minus 10% movement speed doesn't seem that bad, and while we aren't going for bullet damage that much, it still seems like it would scale up to a lot over the entire run, and the downside isn't that bad. This one's really strong, but it has a huge downside. So I think we're gonna try this out. And then now we can also use procs that scale off of bullet damage as well, like the missile thing, I think. Psych Trail. On impact, flashbangs will spit into 2 more flashbangs. Okay, that sounds very good for like the radiation thing and lighting up a lot of area. Circle, proximity marker, enemy projectiles move slower, and we can cancel out the movement speed penalty we just got. And does this one have the reflect thing? Shoot an enemy projectile to deflect it. Yes, I would like to get that soon, so we'll go here to unlock it then. And then also at some point, if we can get some sort of effect to collect all the XP for us, that'd be pretty good. Shrapnel, Gleam, Death Ricochet. Enemies are slowed by 20% after being revealed. Ring of Fire, hit 3+ enemies with Blaze, damage all nearby enemies, and buff their damage taken. Enemies killed on fire float XP towards you. Okay, well, I think that should be active pretty much most of the time with how fast we hit. So that'll do it then, I think. Explosive radiation. Enemies killed by radiation will explode, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Some decent stats on it as well. Death Ricochet, Lightning Bolts, Bleed. Oh, I do want to lock this in so that we have another proc effect that deals like base damage on hits. Lightning bolts, currents, vision delay, guided laser. Fire rate is increased by 5% for each enemy damaged by a wildfire explosion. What do we get after that? Killing an enemy with wildfire increases damage of next shots. Enemies touched by wildfire are set on fire. Sounds pretty cool, so I guess we'll grab that to unlock the other stuff over there. Shooting an enemy 3 times inflicts outflow, dealing 150% bleed damage. Then after that, we can get dealing bleed damage to enemies that walk over it, and outflow. They are damaged again by the combined damage of the 3 bullets that triggered outflow. Serration, extra bleed stats, but we lose a bit of bullet damage. Inflicting bleed on an enemy causes them to take more bleed damage, but lose even more bullet damage. Inflicting bleed on an enemy removes 25% of their health, but doesn't work on bosses. Movement speed and XP pickup range. What do we get after this one? Okay, so this is the top line it looks like, but there's no graphics for it. Every enemy killed by ricochet will increase the damage of your next shots, and damage of ricochet is increased by 100% bullet damage, but we lose some fire rates. I'm not really in love with losing the fire rate to increase my bullet damage, though. I think we'll probably take some bleed-based stuff. 3 times should be very easy with the build we have here, so I think that'll be pretty good. Explosive radiation, plasma charge, lightning bolts, clone sentry. thinking either radiation or lightning bolt here to finish off those trees. Instantly recharged on the next shot if 5 or more enemies are killed at once. Lightning bolts we can eventually get dealing damage to nearby enemies when the lightning bolt kills them, or 2 additional lightning bolts, but we lose fire rates. Probably go for the radiation for now since that doesn't have any downsides. I think I'm actually going to start using some of the rerolls to try and find the projectile deflection thing as well. Oops. So that we don't have to worry about those as much. And it would also deal bonus damage as well by knocking them into them. Death ricochet, deadly ricochets, enemy projectiles move slower. That's the one I'm really looking for. Psych trail. Did I want to banish this, making them move slower? Psychotic enemies move slower and take more damage. That one definitely won't help me much. On death, psychotic enemies will create a remnant. We lose a lot of fire rate going through there, so I think we will actually delete this tree. Quick radiation is pretty good. Let's reroll and try to find the deflection thing, though. On death, enemies will explode into 2 smaller projectiles. I might actually just grab that. XP from enemies killed by shock damage. Enemies killed by outflow will spill blood. Enemy projectiles move slower. Well, I guess that'll help in the meantime at least. Make it much easier to dodge them. This guy actually seems easier to dodge than the first boss so far. That attack just doesn't seem like it's ever going to hit you, so it's just a straight line it seems like. Proximity marker, guided missile, deadly ricochets. Split into 2 more flashbangs, that would be pretty good. Every 3rd shot, shoot a spiral of 9 smaller projectiles. Okay, that sounds really cool. So we get a new mutation here. Oh, there's only the 5 here then. So I guess we'll probably go for the loose cannon then for the 150% more damage. Each full hearts. Yeah, it seems like they're all the same then. I guess that's not bad, but we would have to get more movement speed to help with that. YOLO. Seems like the 150% damage is making it so nothing even gets close except that guy though. That and the bullet spiral we got a bit before that. So our final tier of perks. 3 shots of a burst to an enemy to freeze them. Enemy causes them to take 100% more from subsequent bullets. That actually sounds kind of insane if it keeps ramping up. Burst of 4 bullets, that just sounds really cool for the build we're doing here though. I think I'm gonna try it. all in on the proc and tons of hits at once. Guided laser, charge rounds. Ooh, there we go. Projectile deflection. Cluster flashbangs. I want that as well, but we are definitely going to try this out with the insane fire rate I have. Oh, they actually bounce back really fast, it looks like, as well. So we can completely destroy all projectiles and do bonus damage on top of that now. Guided missile, death ricochet, meteor, guided laser, molten rounds. Killing an enemy with wildfire increases the damage of your next shots. And then big wildfire damage as well, and then that unlocks conflagration. Enemies touched by wildfire are set on fire. I do like that, I think, so that we can like trigger a chain reaction once we get over there. God, the projectile deflection thing is just so good. With a fast attacking weapon. It does seem like there's a lot more of those like line charge up attacks now as well though that also hit you from range but aren't technically a projectile. Radiation instantly recharged if it kills a bunch at the same time. Ooh, there's the conflagration upgrade. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that. shield barrier, clone sentry, bulk rounds, guided missile, swiftness. I wouldn't mind grabbing a bit more movement speed since some of the upgrades have been lowering that. And then the bullet damage with movement speed sounds kind of cool, so I'll just grab the passive stats here, help me dodge attacks bits. Make sure we don't lower that to the point where like I just can't avoid anything. Oh, you can also skip them if you really want. Boss heart pickups heal you to full, but no longer increase your current max. I guess we could take that and grab a bit more movement speed. 2 hearts, but movement speed is decreased. Yeah, I guess. Lightning bolt, shield barrier, charged rounds, deadly ricochets. What else did that have? Ricochet, increase the damage of your next shot. Not sure. Probably try and finish off the lightning tree here. Oh, you can't actually reflect that one. I guess there are some big boys who are exempt from that. Proximity, Meteor Maker, destroy all projectiles that they fired. Isn't that just bad when I have the deflection thing though? That is the bottom tree over here. When enemy projectiles are destroyed by that, split into 2 deflected projectiles. Oh, okay. So that would return the effect and make it even stronger then. I might want to grab the movement speed over here since we just reduced it a bunch with the mutation there. Instantly recharge on the next shots, 5 or more are killed. Yeah, just keep that high enough since we're reducing that through a bunch of other effects. Clone Sentry, Wildfire Burst. Erupt in a burst towards a nearby enemy. Then after that we can get killing an enemy with it decreases the cooldown. Also another XP pull-in effect. Wildfire explosions are much larger, might be fine even with the minus fire rates. Lose some movement speed, but a bunch of pickup range, shield barrier. Probably wildfire here. Since we've got the bottom tree, we're almost completely done with that one. Hello? Okay, I guess this must be a huge boss or something. That was some interesting music. Yup. That is definitely a huge boss. I am not fast enough to avoid that, it looks like. Oh, I literally don't have the movement speed for that. I was moving perpendicular to it. I guess we needed more movement speed upgrades, and the shield barrier would have helped as well. That felt a little bit cheesy, not gonna lie though. Like, I identified that I was lowering my movement speed and I got as many upgrades as I could to help out with that. And I was moving perpendicular to all of those skills, so I couldn't really move any faster out of them. But yeah, I am really impressed with this for a free game. There's still a ton of different weapons I haven't tried out yet, and they all have their own unique upgrade trees. Well, the first tier seems to always have these two with the bullet damage and fire rates, but I think the first one is unique, and then it becomes more unique as you like upgrade more stuff there. And they're constantly adding more stuff in all of the updates and all. Pretty cool little game. Pretty impressive for being completely free, but that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.